Okay, I'm going to go ahead and introduce week 2 to you, which is June the 11th through June the 17th. This week we're going to be looking at classroom vocabulary, pronouns, ser, articles, pluralization, and noun adjective agreement. So you click right here, you can open up the week. You will again want to start by watching the video, which hopefully you are because that's what this is. There's always a video to introduce the week to you. If you go down here, you can see the pages you need to study are pages 20 to 32, and you want to review pages 4, 5, and 2 through 18. The objectives for this particular week are the things that you should be able to do upon completing this week's assignment. So at the end of this week, you should be able to describe to others your classroom. You should know, hold on, let me move this out of the way. You should know what subject pronouns are in Spanish, as well as how to use them and how to conjugate the verb ser. You should be able to correctly make words plural in Spanish. You should be able to distinguish between definite and indefinite articles and be able to make them agree with the nouns they modify in Spanish. You should be able to make nouns and adjectives plural in Spanish, as well as correctly use descriptive adjectives to modify nouns. You should be able to use greeting vocabulary and pronunciation rules to answer the following questions. ¿Cómo estás? Hasta luego. Mucho gusto. ¿Cómo se llamas? ¿Qué tal? In the target language with native or near native pronunciation. All of these assignments address your student learning outcomes 1, 2, and 3. All of your work is due by the end of the day, the 14th. And so to get started, you're going to want to watch the instructor-made videos. Again, you'll open these up. I don't ever see you, so I can only teach you through video. So you'll want to watch the videos on subject pronouns and ser. There's 3 of them, excuse me, and vocabulary, gender of nouns and articles, making nouns plural, noun adjective agreement, adjectives of nationality. And I know it's a lot, and I'm sorry again about this, but remember that you're doing 2 weeks in one and you don't ever see me, so all I have are videos. So you'll want to watch all of those videos, and then when you're done watching them, you'll go back out to the site, excuse me, and you'll click on the class participation forum, click on the thread, and then hit reply and post any questions or concerns you have about the material covered in the videos, or any other questions you have about the class. And if you don't have any questions or concerns, then just post that you don't have any questions or concerns. But again, you have to post something to get credit for this assignment. It's just a way for us to check in, but I need you checking in so that I know that you know what's going on. Okay, you're going to have your first test, a test on Chapter 1. I'll talk about that in a minute, which is in Level 1, I've broken up my test into the halves of each chapter, so you'll always have a test on the first half of Chapter 1 and then the second half, and the first half of Chapter 2 and then the second half. So this is a test on the first half of Chapter 1. But for Assignment 4, we'll talk about that first, and then I'll go back to Test 1 at the end. You're going to want to visit my language labs. You're going to click on the alarm clock, and you're going to complete these SAM activities and these extra practice activities. So remember, everything on the calendar you have to complete. So if you go out here, and you click on the 14th, you're going to see the various assignments pop up. You should not have a tutorial. I'm going to remove that. You do not have to do any tutorials. You just have the extra practices and the SAM activities. So if you open that up, you know, just go through. Some of these are pretty easy. It's just telling you to add el, la, los, las. Based on gender, noun, and based on the gender and number of the noun, meaning whether it's singular, plural, masculine, feminine. So you'll just write el, la, etc. in the blanks, and then hit finish and submit for grading. Again, remember you can do these as many times as you would like before the assignment's due date, and if it's taking you more than 3 tries, that you might want to reach out to me. Okay? And so if we go back here, then you also have your first oral dialogue, or you're getting, you have your first oral dialogue. This is the only one I don't workshop. From here on out, you'll be asked to complete a workshop to help you prepare, but this is such an easy oral dialogue that we're going to just jump right in. So if you open this assignment up, there is going to be, all right. There is a video at the top that you'll watch of me, and I'm asking you these questions, but there's one that's a statement, and basically I'm asking you to tell me how would you respond to either these questions or statements. To do that, you're going to respond to me in a video similar to what I'm doing right now. If you have trouble with making ILOS work, then you need to reach out to me and I'll give you some additional options that you could use instead of using ILOS. But if you watch this video right here tells you how to do ILOS. And when you think you've figured it out and you're ready, you just hit record and then you're able to record your video and send it to me. Just make sure though that when you're done with your video that you copy the URL and paste it into your submission. So when you hit add a submission, you need to paste your URL or else I'll never see your video. And then this is the rubric that I'll use to score you guys, okay? Okay, so test on chapter 1, or the first half of chapter 1. You have 3 hours, and you don't need 3 hours, but I've given you 3 hours, and you have only one attempt, so make sure that you don't open it until you're ready to sit down and complete the test. It's not like you can look at it, walk away, and come back. Okay, so you had numbers, so you have a few math problems. So you will see a mathematical expression, and then you have to pick the words that match that mathematical expression. Okay, and you have quite a few that are like that. So you want to make sure you study your numbers. Una conversación, you have been selected to greet a group of international students at your university and need to practice some useful greetings and farewells. Listen to each question or statement and then select the response that most logically follows. So you just click this. And you heard, hola, ¿cómo está usted? Which of these would be the most logical response to that question? Okay, you'll do the same thing for these. Letras, letras, y más letras. Select the word that you hear spelled from each group. So again, you'll click the button. So you'll hear a word, spell it out, and then you decide which of these words matches the spelling that you hear. And you've got a few more like that. Okay. Una conversación, which I think we already went over. Yeah, you've been asked to greet a group of international students. You need to practice some useful greetings and farewells. Listen to each question or statement and select the response that most logically follows. So you have some down here. I'm going to try to move them around so they're all together. I don't like them all mixed up like this. We already went over the math class. So you have quite a few. That's una conversación. Es formal. Sí o no? Okay, so do you know when to use formal language? So if you go back and you study your vocabulary that's on pages 4 and 5, you will see some various questions and responses for greetings, and they will tell you whether they're formal or they're informal. And so by looking at this particular greeting, is it formal or is it informal? And you've got a few that are like that. The date. ¿Cuál es la fecha? You are trying to explain to a friend of yours that dates are expressed differently in Spanish, but he just doesn't seem to understand. So just remember that in Spanish, the day comes before the month, okay? So this is actually the 1st of December, not January the 12th, okay? So just make sure that you're careful with that. And the first part is already given to you. Hoy es, you're adding on the rest of that. If I say today is, you're saying the 1st of December, or so on and so forth. Okay, ¿qué palabra es? These, you'll want to look in your book. I can't remember the exact page it's on. I want to say it's like page 8, where you have the alphabet and you have the letters, and then you have the spellings of the letters. These are the spellings of the letters, like C-U-A-D-E-R-N-O. So if you heard C-U-A-D-E-R-N-O, what would you write? Okay, so that's what you're doing there, and you'll just want to look at your alphabet. Here, be careful here with los estudiantes internacionales, because it says you're responsible for keeping records of the number of international students that attend your university. As you look over the numbers, you realize that there's actually one less student per country than what is listed below. Before submitting your report to the International Student Office, spell out the correct number of students from each country. So remember, there's actually one less. So you're not going to write the number given here. You're going to write one less than it for each of those, okay? And here, cierto or falso, read the following 2 conversations and then decide whether each statement is true or false. Okay. ¿Cómo estás? Complete each conversation logically by filling in the blanks with the appropriate words. Okay, so what's missing? And that's everything that you have to do for that.